If you were watching The Bachelorette last night, I was not, but if you were, you saw former UAlbany point guard Mike Black.
Hang on. Our 10 o'clock producer last night, Raj, texted me, Mike Black is on The Bachelorette. Was it on in the newsroom? Were people aware?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. You know me. I'm in a little world over there. I have no idea what's going on. Let's bring on Will Brown because it's kind of an interesting topic, and I'm sure that show does very well. So a lot of people, huge ratings. So a lot of people were watching, and I know the coach was watching. Good morning, Will. How did Mike do?
Let's just say he was like a basketball player at Kentucky, one and done. That is the worst show I think I have ever watched in my life. It got to be, I think, about 9:50, and I'm pulling my hair out, and my wife says to me, "This is just an hour show?" And I'm like, "It has to be." So I click on info, and it says to 11 o'clock, I wanted to die.
A 2-hour show?
And she's like, we cannot change it. We got to see what happens to Mike. And so I had to watch that show for 2 hours, and I'm serious. I've seen some bad TV in my day. I do not know how people watch that show.
Will, what's worse, sitting through that or a game when you get blown out by like 30?
I don't know. I did say to my wife last night, that's like sitting in a dentist chair with no Novocaine. I mean, it really is. And some of the characters, did either of you watch it?
No.
No, didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
So, see, you're not going to understand some of the things that I probably will say or tweeted about, but the cast of characters on that show and some of the things they were doing, I'm just sitting there scratching my head. That means there's hope for a lot of people in this world after seeing the characters that are on that show.
Did you know Mike was going to be? Did he consult you at all before he went ahead with this?
No, he did not consult me. Matter of fact, John Yachty found out through Jacob Yachty, because Mike and Jacob talk fairly consistently, and so John delivered the news to us, and so you have to watch. And again, it's 2 hours of my life that I will not get back. I hate to say this, but I'm glad that Mike was one and done because I'm not sure I could watch a whole series of that show. Very painful.
So obviously the way you're talking here, you've never watched that show before.
Maybe the first season that came out, and I think it was The Bachelor at the time, and I think that was several years ago, and I think I was one and done when I watched that show when it originally came out. So, last night made me feel better on my choice never to watch the show again, after that first episode that I watched a very long time ago.
Well, how did Mike do? I mean, did he do okay? I mean, did he represent himself all right?
And I guess if you watch this, if you know, I don't know a lot about the show, but I guess this was the intro stage where you're supposed to introduce yourself to the Bachelorette. So limos come up, you get out of the limo, you say a few words to her, you shake your hands. Everybody tried to have a trick up their sleeve. One guy walked up with a whole marching band, and he was playing the drums. And, one guy brought a big block of ice and a sledgehammer. He smashed the ice and said, "I just wanted to break the ice." So a lot of corny stuff going on. And Mike decides, and hopefully I'm not embarrassing Mike, I mean the whole world saw it. He gets out of the limo and he walks up to her, introduces himself, and he's got a brownie on a plate. I don't know what that was all about. It was probably a Little Debbie's brownie that he got at the supermarket. There's no way that Mike baked it. But, so he, said something about, you're as sweet as this brownie or something. I don't know. I saw a lot stronger efforts on the court by Mike. So I think that was a turnover right there. But, so then he went into the house and, he didn't get any one-on-one time with her, and then at the end, I guess she gives roses away, and Mike didn't get a rose, so he was like one of, I think, 10 guys voted off on the first day. But there's some characters on this show for sure. I mean, there's one guy that showed up in a suit, and he had a T-shirt on under the jacket with, I guess, a picture of himself, and it says "Waboom" on it. And like every 5 minutes, he screams out loud "Waboom," and that guy got kept on the show, and Mike just voted off.
Of course, he did.
One guy was in a penguin suit. I mean, a full-fledged penguin suit, because he found out that she liked penguins, and he sat in the suit for the whole 2 hours on the show. I mean, there's really some doozies on this show. And the penguin got kept over Mike. So I'm going to give it a day or two before I reach out to Mike and, and tease him a little bit. But, hey, he got some airtime on TV, that's for sure.
Will, I was surprised when it was announced that Mike would be on. Just, the interviews we've done with him, he never seemed like that really super outgoing guy. So I was a little surprised that Mike was willing to do this, which, and I'm sure there are at least a couple of your assistant coaches who would raise their hand at this question, but which of your former players would do the best in a situation like this?
Wow. Mike always portrayed himself as being really smooth.
All right.
I'm not sure how smooth he was last night, but I will probably go with, and I'll get hammered for this, I'm going to go with my guy, Ray Sanders.
Okay.
I don't think Ray had as much game as he claims, but I think Ray would do well on a show like this, because the ladies were very important to Ray. I think with Ray it went basketball and the ladies were a tie, and then it went to the academics. So I think Ray would be up there for sure. And I'm trying to think,
Hooley would say he could win that show.
What'd you say?
Hooley.
Yeah, Hooley would tell you he could win that show.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I would put Peter up there. I think Peter would be a cross between smooth and corny. I think Ray would go from introducing himself in the first 10 seconds to wanting to marry her in the next 10 seconds. So, I think Ray and Hooley would battle it out. You're probably starting a Twitter war right now between the two. They're an hour away from each other right now in Australia.
Right.
So I would go with those guys. I'll probably get some text messages from some guys saying, "Hey, Coach, what about me?" But I'll go with those two.
You think Lillis may send you a text? What about me?
I don't know about Brian. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with Hooley and Sanders. They're most recent in my mind right now. And who will text me for sure if he hears this is Lucius Jordan. I think Lou thought he had a lot of game back in the day as well. He would probably use the word smooth.
All right. Well, we had to get you on for the update. Chris is all over this story this morning, and neither of us watch, but I'm sure there were that show. Honestly, I know I don't watch. You don't watch. Chris doesn't watch. But the ratings for that show are through the roof.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
If you guys have some time, all right, just watch the first half hour where they do the intros, and you will absolutely be floored with some of the characters that are on this show. So it was extremely comical. Now, before you let me go here, can we get this Cavs-Celtics series over with so we can watch some real basketball?
Well, I think it's obviously with what happened on Sunday. Old Boston's going back to the TD Garden. Did you end up going to a game, by the way?
I didn't, but now I might be forced to. It was my son's birthday that night, so it was kind of, do we keep him around the family? Do we go? What do we do? So we decided we did a couple things for his birthday, but now it's going back to Boston. I have to check the date because we have our conference meetings in Savannah, Georgia in the next week, and I'm going to be gone for about 2 days. But if I'm back, I might have to hit Boston for sure. But it's terrible. I mean, they blew a 21-point lead in late in the third quarter. It was like our Stony Brook game at Stony Brook. I don't know. It's crazy. But, who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? Warriors or Cavs?
Oh, I think between who?
Between the Warriors and the Cavs.
Oh, I like Golden State.
Yeah. I can't see Boston winning another game. I really can't. I would imagine the Cavs are going to advance, but I think the Cavs are going to win as well.
Will, I did say this yesterday. I'm a big Brad Stevens fan. I think he does a great job. I think that is a great coaching job by Brad Stevens to get his team in the right, even a little bit in the right frame of mind when you lose by 44 on your home court, to be able to come back a couple of days later on the road and get a victory.
There's no doubt. And I think what's so impressive is his demeanor on the sidelines. And I think his demeanor is probably why those players respect him so much and why they play so hard for him. But I think what it shows you, I think the last game was a case of Brad Stevens and those players playing with great pride and coaching with pride. But I thought that the Cavs just sleptwalked through the last 16 minutes of the game. But I think it shows you, LeBron James has been so dominant. He has one bad game, and now everybody's crushing him. Yeah. I mean, what are you guys doing in the media, Raj? I mean, this guy is as good as it gets in the NBA right now. He takes one game off, and he's getting crushed. What's the deal with that?
I don't know, man. I'm not crushing him, and I know Brad Stevens isn't crushing him either. I can tell you that.
Brad Stevens is smart. He's not crushing him. No. But I mean, what he's doing at his age, not that he's old, but 14 years in, I mean, he's just dominating the NBA right now. I want to see if he's able to do that in a championship series against the Cavs this year, because in my opinion, the Cavs are much better than they were a year ago. And if Draymond Green didn't get suspended last year, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that the Warriors would have won the NBA championship last year. I just get a laugh that when the Celtics lose a game, Stevens can't coach. The Cavs lose a game, what's wrong with LeBron? He's tired, he's not Jordan. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the little impromptu this morning. Thanks for the update on your former point guard, Mike Black.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Appreciate it.